The United States has gone to war with Iran on behalf of Israel, doing Israel's bidding and dragging us into a potentially protracted war, which could claim hundreds, if not thousands, of American lives. That's the reality. This is not going to be over in 4 days, which is what the administration would like you to believe, or that Israel would like you to believe, with this massive sortie of American ships and Israeli aircraft. This is not going to be over in short order. In fact, we are now seeing the fruits of that, the Straits of Hormuz being closed, an energy infrastructure war that could be devastating to the U.S. economy. What will happen on Monday as the markets open and the U.S. dollar continues to tank? All of those questions are on the table. And then, of course, at the heart of it are all of the lives that will be lost in this war. I just had a chance to sit down with former UN weapons inspector Scott Ritter, who says, we will not win this war, and Iran is prepared for many years of fighting this out. This will not be over in just a few days. And Scott should know, he, of course, tried to warn all of us about what was going to happen against Iraq. Millions of people ended up dead. And he warned all of us and sat in front of Congress and told members of Congress, Saddam Hussein does not have weapons of mass destruction. So, of course, the pretext for this war is that Iran is enriching uranium in order to build nuclear weapons. Our own CIA on multiple occasions have confirmed that that's not true. Even our own head of DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, said that's not true. And by all accounts, there's no evidence at all that that's true. But don't let facts get in the way of this. So here now is a few minutes with Scott Ritter as he talks about it's an impossible task for the United States and Israel to actually win a war against Iran. Watch.
We're at war. It's a regional war. It's a war that is going to have consequences that will impact the American public. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed. This is unprecedented, and it is the beginning of an economic phase of this conflict. This is also a conflict that it appears those who started it didn't understand what they were getting into, and Iran has been fully prepared for this eventuality. The decapitation strike did not decapitate. The Iranian people are not in the streets demanding the overthrow of the government, just the opposite. They're in the streets rallying in support of the government. And the war plan has gone awry from the start. This was a war that the Joint Chiefs of Staff told the president, we don't have the resources to fight and win. They tinkered with the war plan anyways, and they went forward. But when you're trying to accomplish a lot with limited resources, if the war plan goes out of sync up front, which this one has, remember, this war, this mission that we're on is predicated on decapitation. We have lost this war.
In 10 hours. In about 10 to 12 hours.
We lost this war the moment we fired missiles against Iran because we don't have a plan that can be implemented, and we are going to run out of ammunition. This is what the generals told. The admiral that was fired from the Joint Chiefs of Staff told the president, we don't have the resources to do this war. If you do this, we're going to lose.
Intercepts have just named this Operations Lion's Roar. 200 jets, 500 targets, the largest sortie in Israeli Air Force history. And they called it the Genesis as the opening strike. So this is just the beginning of all of this. So maybe militarily, Scott, you can take us through what we see next. Speculation about using some of the lesser advanced weapons to sort of overwhelm air defense systems. And, Iran's saying that you haven't even seen what we have, our capabilities yet. What do you expect to unfold over the next 24, 48 hours?
Well, first of all, there's some talk out of the U.S. military that the initial phase of this campaign is a 4-day campaign, day and night. So if that's the case, what we're going to see is just nonstop sorties flying into Iran to, follow through on regime change, on decapitation, to suppress Iranian security targets, to take out air defense, and to suppress ballistic missile launch capability, but according to the president, also to strike ballistic missile production capacity. There are various facilities near Tehran that appear to be being targeted by the United States and by Israel. And so we're going to be basically seeing, 72 hours of, or no, I'm sorry, it's 4 days, 24, 48, 96 hours of strikes. And then there ostensibly would be a pause in which, the United States would be hopeful that the Iranian people would rise up and remove their government power while we rearm, re-equip, and look for new targets. But I think we've got this completely wrong, because it doesn't appear that the Iranians are balking, are hurt, are confused, are stumbling about. They are responding in a very forceful manner, and as you pointed out, they haven't used their best. I think tonight there's some video evidence that they may have fired a couple of their more advanced missiles. We shall see. But the point is, they have very advanced missiles, and these missiles will do extreme harm on the targets that they're aimed at. And Iran, I do believe, will be victorious in this war. The United States is going to run out of ammunition. And when that happens, we will have to withdraw from this conflict, because we have no ability to continue this conflict. And we lose all leverage over Iran at that point in time. Israel is going to be physically defeated in this conflict. This is a war of existential proportions. I don't believe that the United States is going to be able to pick up the phone and have this war stop. I believe Iran has already gotten the upper hand and will continue to apply force effectively against Israel, the United States, and the Gulf Arab states, to the point that when a diplomatic solution is arrived at, and I do believe that Russia and China are going to be pushing for a diplomatic solution, peace will break out, but peace that is acceptable to Iran, which means that for the first time, people are going to have to sit down, shut up, and listen to the Iranians and what they want. And they don't want a nuclear weapon. The Iranians are smart. They've been preparing for this conflict since 2005. Throughout Iran, there's a system of caverns dug into the side of mountains and hills where this material has been evacuated. There are alternative evacuation sites. Israel's talking about hitting, what did you say, 500 targets or whatever?
Well,
500 targets was 200 aircraft, 500 targets. Right. Operation Lion's Roar.
But the Iranians have created an additional 1,500 targets by dispersing this, and they will continue to disperse. Now we're in an intelligence game where you have to collect intelligence and evaluate intelligence and identify targets, and then put together a target strike package and strike the targets before the enemy actually re-evacuates. The Iranians aren't going to be staying in one place. They're going to be moving. Unless Israel controls the skies for 24 hours, they won't be able to interdict. This is a losing proposition for Israel. Iran was ready for this. And the important thing is that in being prepared for this, they apparently prepared in a way that didn't tip off their preparation to Israel and the United States, because we would not have launched this strike unless we had a high degree of confidence that the targets we were hitting would be in fulfillment of the mission that we put forward. We wouldn't waste all of these extremely high value, very expensive precision munitions in the first wave of the attack just to strike empty buildings, because that, it appears, is what we hit. A bunch of empty buildings with a significant amount of collateral damage for Iranian civilians, but almost zero impact on the target sets that we're trying to eradicate. This is a war of choice. It's not a war of necessity, and therefore it makes it an illegal war of aggression. And I'll just pound this point home all over again, because people hear that term and they roll their eyes. This is what we voted for, they said. I don't really give a damn what you voted for. What I care about is the Constitution of the United States of America, and this war operates in total contravention of the Constitution, in total contravention of the United Nations Charter.
By all accounts, he's absolutely right. I mean, some sobering news from a former UN weapons inspector who tried to warn everyone about Saddam Hussein and, of course, about the lack of weapons of mass destruction. But, members of Congress never paid attention to it. Those corrupt politicians didn't listen. Millions of people died as a result of it. And of course, now we are facing the same reality in the United States with the Straits of Hormuz being closed, the US dollar collapsing, and we are right now on a precipice of disaster. But gold, silver prices surging as we speak today. Countries, by the way, in the Far East shutting down the ability to transact in gold and silver, like to buy gold and silver. In fact, here's an example. One bank in Thailand issuing this. People trying to buy up as much as they can. This is a Thailand bank saying, sorry, due to the Iran-Israel war, all gold transactions right now being halted due to this volatility. So things are about to get very real. So that's the news update part of today's video. Now I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is tied directly to the silver demand that we're seeing. I mean, silver was made for this moment with the US dollar collapsing and what is happening in this regional war right now. So gold and silver are reasserting their real roles as people are trying to acquire it. Silver is up 33% since February 6th, when it bottomed at $68 an ounce after that massive liquidation. It was at $121 an ounce. Look at the mining sector right now. I mean, how can any hedge fund manager stay on the sidelines with this? We're going to see some legendary wealth created in silver stocks, in my view. Just look at companies we've featured on this channel in the past few years. Look at these breakouts, and they're hitting new all-time highs. Here are two incredible pieces of data right now that show us the potential upside that is still intact and remains with precious metals. And watch what happens this week. Gold still covers only 3% of government debt right now. To go back to the 1980 ratio, gold would need to be priced for over $25,000 an ounce. In 1968 and the year 2000, the two previous times the U.S. equities were this overvalued, silver soared 2,500% and 1,200% in the decade that followed. So what is going to happen this time? One billionaire who called the 2000 silver market is Mr. Eric Sprott. You know him. He's a legend. He stands as one of the most legendary figures in precious metals investing. Now, to me, his name is synonymous with unwavering conviction in gold and especially silver. Now, he founded Sprott Asset Management, growing it into a global powerhouse, managing billions in precious metals-focused funds, including some of the world's largest physical silver trusts. And he now predicts that silver could reach $150 to $300 plus in this cycle.
I can believe that it's gold silver should go back to 15. Okay, it's only mined at 8-1. Right, it's in the Earth's crust at like 10 or 11-1. Why in the hell should it have traded at 100-1? And it's already down at what, 67, 68-1? I think it's going right to 15, 1 to 15. Okay. So let's say if the gold price is 4,500, which is near, makes the calculation easy. Silver should be at $300. That's where it should be. That's without a physical shortage. Okay. Now we throw the physical shortage on top and the shortage of silver stocks to buy. I mean, the runway is so wide open that I can see nothing but clear sailing for silver. It might have times when it gets beat up, and I always find it hilarious watching silver trade on the COMEX, and they have these 10-minute bursts to the downside.
Yeah.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
And a half an hour later, it's right back up there.
So I looked at which companies that Eric Sprott is a shareholder of, where the main metal is silver. I mean, a pure play on silver, and there are very few of those. Eric Sprott owns roughly 4% of Kootenai Silver. So here is their ticker symbol on your screen right now. That's the sponsor of today's video, and that is the ticker symbol right there. And this is our newest pure play silver for 2026. And Eric Sprott has been holding the position for 7 years now. 7 years. So the ticker symbol is KOOYF. It's available on all the big brokerages like Schwab, Fidelity, Interactive Brokers, E-Trade. Now, back in mid-2025, when silver's price was half of what it is today, these two analysts published these price targets for Kootenai Silver. Research Capital had a Canadian dollar amount of $2.70 a share. Red Cloud had it with Canadian dollar amount of $3.20 a share. Now, that's equivalent to roughly $2 US. Now, today, with silver up more than 100% since this was published, KOOYF, those shares are $1.40. So conduct your due diligence on Kootenai Silver, guys, which owns 4 silver projects containing one of the largest resources of any junior explorer. Kootenai Silver is my number one pure silver play for 2026 because of the following catalysts. So Kootenai Silver owns 4 silver deposits. Quality silver assets are scarce, as you know, yet Kootenai Silver owns 4 of them, a staggering 223 million ounces of silver equivalent in the measured and indicated category, and an additional 111 million ounces silver equivalent in the inferred category. Now, the physical shortage and the deficits are mounting as well. Right now, the global silver market has entered its 6th consecutive year of structural deficit, with the 2026 shortfall projected at 67 million ounces. So this is a chronic imbalance right now, and it follows that massive 2025 deficit of 149 to 230 million ounces, contributing to an accumulated gap of nearly 900 million ounces since 2021. Now, James McDonald, Kootenai Silver's president and CEO, is definitely ready for this bull market in commodities. Check this out. James McDonald, now CEO of Kootenai Silver, played a pivotal role in creating Alamos Gold, which is a company that delivered quadruple-digit returns during the early to mid-2000s gold bull market. Now, from its inception in 2003 through 2012, the company's share price soared dramatically, rising from penny stock levels, sub $1 in 2003, to well over $10 to $15 by the early 2010s peak. Multi-1,000% gains for early shareholders. Now, Kootenai Silver is a pure silver play. The company is positioned so well for this bull market, with James McDonald leading it, in my opinion. And in 2020, still a full 2 years before the company's most successful drill hole, which was done on September 8th, 2022, Eric Sprott bought shares for $4 Canadian, double their current price, double the current share price. So today, the price is half of what he paid for it. The legend, Eric Sprott. So in 2025, Eric added even more shares. So I'll show you the black and white mathematical valuations in a second. You know, this is information extracted from publicly disclosed filings. You can look them up yourself. So as you can see, as of January 1st, 2026, when comparing between various silver companies, their enterprise value divided by the size of their resource, we see that Kootenai Silver is priced at only 36 cents per ounce of silver equivalent, where the average of these 15 companies is $2.18 an ounce. Again, this is information extracted from publicly disclosed filings. In February of 2026, Kootenai Silver, with its market cap of $188 million Canadian, is scheduled to drill about 70,000 meters in the coming 12 months. That's $2,600 of market cap for every meter that it's drilling. I love that. So as you can see, no other silver company has so much drilling planned and underway with that low of a market cap. So guys, research Kootenai Silver and do your own homework on it. Do your own due diligence on it. I'll have links in the description below so you can dive more deeply, because we are in a silver bull market that is front and center right now. So I know that this is my number one pure silver play for 2026, bar none. So again, we'll have links in the description, guys. Do your own homework on this company, and we'll see you next time.